Welcome back to Shadows and Stories, the horror podcast. Title, The Forgotten Cemetery. I'm your host, John, and tonight, I'm taking you somewhere no light ever touches. Somewhere the map forgot, somewhere the dead whisper through the leaves, and they remember everyone who dares enter. Tonight's story is real, or at least, as real as the man who told it to me believes. He's never been the same since, and after you hear what happened to him, you might never walk past a cemetery the same way again. But before we step into this darkness together, if you love horror that crawls under your skin, if you want more stories that twist your nerves and whisper in your sleep, hit that like button, share this episode with your bravest friends, and don't forget to subscribe. Now, take a breath, hold it tight, and follow me deep into the forest, to the Forgotten Cemetery. Part 1. The Dare. The man's name was Eric Martin. 27 years old, lived in a small town in Oregon, just outside the Cascade Forests. He was a skeptic, the kind of guy who'd roll his eyes at ghost stories, a proud non-believer, until the night of October 17th, when everything changed. It started as a dare. Eric and his two friends, Mark and Jesse, were drinking in Jesse's basement, watching a documentary on haunted locations in the Pacific Northwest. That's when Jesse mentioned the legend of the Grave of the Hushed. According to local folklore, deep in the unmarked woods north of town, there's an ancient cemetery abandoned, cursed, and hidden from all maps. They say it was used by a cult in the late 1800s. People who believed death was the only way to purify the soul. The town buried the rumors. Literally, the place was fenced off, covered by brush, and forgotten. But some say it's still there, still waiting. Eric, ever the skeptic, laughed. Ghosts? Cults? You guys believe this crap? Mark smirked. Bet you won't spend the night there. Alone, Jesse added, grinning. That was the moment. That sharp turn when bravado outweighs reason. Eric grabbed his coat. Drop a pin where it is. I'll prove it's all BS. They did. And at 10:37 p.m., Eric parked his car off an old logging road and walked into the black mouth of the woods. Part 2. The Path of Bones. Eric followed a narrow trail for over an hour, flashlight bouncing across trees that seemed to lean inward like watchers. The forest was unnaturally quiet. No owls, no crickets, not even the rustle of leaves, unless you count the ones behind him. Always behind him. At 11:53 p.m. he found it. A rusted, wrought iron gate, mostly swallowed by vines and branches. Beyond it, crooked headstones, some cracked in half, others sunken into the moss-covered earth. The Forgotten Cemetery. Eric climbed over the gate and walked in. He joked to his friends via voice message. Welp, here I am. Ghosts, come say hi, or forever hold your peace. That would be the last message they ever got from him. Part 3. The Hushed. At first, nothing happened. He walked among the graves, reading faint names and dates. Then, he noticed something strange. The names weren't familiar. Not just unfamiliar, impossible. Every grave had the same last name, Calner. But more disturbingly, each headstone read, Hushed by His Grace. And the dates? All the same year, 1887. That was the year the Calner cult supposedly vanished into the woods and were never seen again. Eric felt a sudden coldness, like walking into a freezer. He turned, flashlight flickering. He saw nothing, but he heard something, breathing, right behind him. He spun around, still nothing, until he noticed the graves. They had shifted. A few stones had cracked open, as if something had been moving beneath them. If you're still listening, you're brave, or maybe foolish. Either way, this is Shadows and Stories, the horror podcast. I'm John, and we're only halfway into the Forgotten Cemetery. Like what you hear? Then like, share, and hit that subscribe button. You're going to want more after this. Now back to Eric if you dare. Part 4. The Bell That Calls. Eric tried to leave. He retraced his steps, but the path was gone, vanished. The forest was different now, denser, tighter. Branches scraped his arms. The trees looked like they had faces, not carved, but natural, formed in twisted bark and hollow knots that watched. That's when he heard the bell, a small metallic ringing like a handbell, distant, yet right in his ear. He followed it, not by choice, like it pulled him, deeper, until he found the mausoleum. Half-buried stone crumbling, a rusted iron bell above the door, swinging on its own. He opened the door. Inside were stairs, leading down, and candles, lit, fresh. He should have run, but he descended. Part 5. The Whispering Dead. The stairs led to a stone chamber, lined with coffins, all open, empty. In the center, a mirror, tall, cracked, and black as obsidian. Eric stepped forward. He saw his reflection. Then he didn't. It was still him, but the eyes were wrong. Wide, empty, screaming silently. The reflection smiled, but Eric hadn't. Then it moved its hand and pointed behind him. He turned. There were figures in the dark, dozens, all wearing old rotted garments, faces covered in veils, and no feet. They floated inches off the floor. The Calner dead had returned, and they had chosen him. Part 6. The Final Whisper. Eric tried to run, but the stairs were gone. The room was sealing shut, stone sliding over stone. The whispering grew louder, not voices, but names. Eric, Eric Martin, hushed by his grace. He screamed, he clawed at the mirror, and then darkness. When he woke up, it was morning. He was lying in the middle of the cemetery, but every grave now had a new stone, including one that read, Eric Martin. 1996 to 2023, hushed by his grace. He ran, found his way back, but something came with him. Eric's been in a psychiatric ward since that night. He doesn't speak, except sometimes when he whispers. Not words, but names. Names of people who haven't died yet. And one of those names was mine. You've been listening to Shadows and Stories, the horror podcast. If your heart's still beating, if your lights are still on, do me one favor. Like, share, and subscribe. We've got more tales waiting for you. More whispers in the dark. More shadows just like this one. Until next time, stay out of the woods, and whatever you do, never answer the bell.